All right, guys, welcome back to the Roger Sarn podcast where we talk all things Army. And this is part 3 of the NCOER class. So let's get started.
Roger Sarn.
All right, let's get right into it. You already know it's the leader development coaching session. We're talking about NCOERs and Army writing. So the references are DAPAM AR 623-3, which is the NCOER evaluation systems, ATP 6-22.1 counseling process. And this video we're going to talk about authorized and unauthorized, authorized and unnecessary bullets, right? So these are flags on the play. We're going to say flags on the play. When you say flags on the play, we're talking about, first example is putting the name in the bullet comment. You don't need to put the name in the bullet because it's only about me. Does that make sense? So unlike an award that you want to start it off with, most of the time with Sergeant Cruz did this, that, and a third. That's not what we're doing here. Over here, we're just gonna go ahead and say led this, developed this, execute it, whatever it is that it is. So we're never gonna start it off with the name. So Matt Forte demonstrated exceptional performance as the tailback. You're going to take Matt Forte's name out and you're just going to put demonstrate exceptional and then keep it going there. Another flag on the play is use of present tense. Never want to say executes. Never want to say proved. So proved he is the best cornerback playing the game. That's past tense. Proved. The next one is executes at fast pace on every play. Execute it. That makes sense? Another flag on the play. Anything outside rating period. So if you take this example and you say one Super Bowl MVP for his performance in the Super Bowl 50, provided himself a reliable fullback during the season. Jesus Christ. And it's proved himself. As you already know, the season itself is 17 games, and then you have the playoffs. Then you have the Super Bowl and the playoffs and Super Bowl and the postseason. So outside the rating period is going to be the Super Bowl, which is why it cannot go into the rating period, which is the season itself. Next flag on the play is going to be technical jargon. So in this example, it says served as an integral part of the Mike, Sam, and Will team. For those of you who don't know football, the Mike, Sam, and Will, those are linebackers. But the point is, those of you who don't know football would never know that. So that's why it's technical jargon. Only people in that niche would understand, or in that realm. I don't know why I said niche. Another flag on the play is Raider comments on potential. So the next thing is, the example is clearly a future league MVP or move to first string receiver. And if you think about that, that's the senior Raiders job to talk about potential. The Raider talks about what they observed, and the senior Raider talks about what their potential is. And that's why it's more emphasis in the board, as you've already heard, probably more than likely in your Army career, that it's all about what the senior Raider writes, because that's what the centralized board is looking at. They're looking at where to put you. Okay? They're looking at if they're going to promote you, and we promote off potential. So therefore, move to first string receiver. That's kind of like saying at the bottom when they say the next assignment should be what. Does that make sense? All right, continuing on with more flags on the play. Capitalize words at the beginning of the bullet. All words start with just a regular lowercase letter. Exhibit exceptional speed and athleticism. So the E would be lowercase. And just in case you guys didn't know, the little bullet is just a lowercase o. That's it. I never knew that for years. I'm not going to lie. For years, I didn't know that. How the hell do they do that? And then an NCO told me. Next flag on the play is punctuated at the end of the bullet. It's not a It's not a sentence. So showed the will and determination of a champion, period. It's not a sentence. Remove it. It's just a statement. It's just a bullet, just what it says, a bullet, which is why when you see PowerPoints, there's never a period at the end, or there shouldn't be a period at the end. Hey, y'all tell me if my slide has period at the end. Am I tripping? Now I want to go back and look at all my slides. Oh man, if they have a period, I'm gonna smack myself. Another flag on the play: copy and paste bullets, and that's gonna cause for a review because same bullets on two NCOs rated by the same rater. That's gonna cause the board, or not just the board, let's bring it back down to the organizational level. That's gonna cause your first sergeant, sergeant major, whoever's looking at it above you, to kind of like review your competencies and skills as the rater. Are you actually putting in effort for these NCOs? Or are you just copying and pasting and being lazy and just think that no one's gonna notice it? So that's how that becomes a red flag, which is the review flag. If you're not watching on the YouTube, you won't get it. So those of you who are listening on the podcast, go ahead and look at it. It's pretty cool. It's just a red flag. It's not that cool. And then pulling from bullets from online sources. We all do that, but if you're gonna do that, spice it up and kind of make it better, and put the numbers in there, but or just don't do it. And then you have another flag on the play, which is actions not closed, and to talk about adjudication. So any pending UCMJ or administrative actions, such as a GOMAR, that can't go on there if it's not adjudicated. Adjudicated means that if they're guilty or not guilty, or founded or unfounded, whatever you want to say. So if you have an NCOER that's due and that individual is under investigation, and let's say on January 1st is when it's due, but the investigation is not closing until April, then you have to just close that out. And you can't even mention it, because it can be that they're found not guilty. So now you mentioned that on the NCOER, messed their career up, but they're not guilty. So that's why you can't put it on there. Okay. So Raiders evaluation bullets. So strong bullets contain accomplishment with impact. And that's the so what. And we talked about the so what in the first in part 1. Go ahead and watch it if you haven't watched it. So without impact, it's just a job. If you just showing up to work every day and not going above and beyond, and you have to be told what to do all the time, then it's just a job. So therefore, you have no impact on your organization. However, when you go and you PMCS, let's say that 113 or whatever your vehicle is, and it's down, and you get it up within a couple months, now there's an impact. So now that there's an actual bullet to be written there. The level of impact or scope, so how big and how far reaching, which is the level of impact should determine the level of award or rating. We're not talking awards in this thing, we're talking rating. So the level of impact, if you start let's say you start a run club or something, now you're no longer impacting yourself by being a fast runner. You've influenced other NCOs, officers, or just leaders in general, soldiers, to also come on your journey. So now you're impacting. So it's a big impact, and it reaches far because it's not just your level of leadership. Next thing is going to be quantifiable or qualitative content. So how much and compared to, right? The numbers help highlight impact and scope when used correctly. Then quality work can be described without numbers. I would say, I was in a meeting with a couple sergeant majors, and I was listening, and they were talking about last year's board, and they were talking about how the board's AAR was not enumerating in the senior rater, not enumerating the NCO's place. So that means is they're putting top 30%, top 20% versus 1 of 7, 7 of 7, 3 of 7. The board last year preferred the number of what you are versus percentage. Percentage is very vague, and it just doesn't show the board exactly where that NCO stands. So I would always encourage and do my best with bullets to put numbers in there And if you are an NCO, don't be scared to be 4 out of 7. That's better than top 40% or 40% of the NCOs I work with. Okay, and this was the AAR. Ensure bullets are in the appropriate block. Don't sit there and put a far exceeds when it's just something that it just isn't it, right? Because now the board is going to question it. I mean, it should have been questioned at the lower level, which it will. But if it did made it, hypothetically, the board is going to be like, they're just trying to fluff this guy's NCOER up. And then you only get one semicolon per bullet, so use it wisely. Semicolons are kind of like just breaking up the idea, what they did, boom, and then the impact of it. So use it wisely. And then there's no potential comments, as we already spoke about. And this is just the Raiders bullets. Now let's move into an example of what the Raiders bullets are and what block it should be. So the first is selected over 4 peers. So the first bullet is selected over 4 peers to serve as squad leader. There's a semicolon. Ensured soldiers and mission requirements were met at 100% success. Completed over 35 DA Select Honor Guard missions while serving as a member of the HRC Ceremonial Honor Guard team. Third bullet is earned an ACFT score of 560, designed PRT for a squad that resulted in a squad average of 510. That's crazy. 510 average is crazy, son. Crazy. But it is what it is. But yes, these 3 bullets are going to be what block would you recommend? Far exceeds, met, or did not meet standard? Put it in the comments. Hurry up. Now, exceeded standard. Exceeded standard, right? So selected over 4 peers and then still got 100% success. I'm just saying, like, it's crazy. But if you notice, all of these bullets are still organizational, which is why I said, like, you're good in your hood. Let's put it that way. You're good in the hood, but when you get out the hood, are you any good? Like, you're good where you live at, but are you any good when you get taken out of your element? So that's what it means. So I'm good at my organization, but how did I impact garrison? Think about it that way. All right, so the next example is recognized by installation commander for contributions during the Fort Knox Centennial Week. Second bullet is led by example, motivated others to take pride in performance and instill confidence in customer interaction. Third one is remain flexible and mission focused in an ever-changing environment and high operational tempo. So if you look at the bullet, what would you say? Look at those 3 bullets. Are they general or specific? Boom, met standard, my peoples. This is what a general bullet gets you. Like, installation commander, that's crazy. Like, I stepped myself. I went to somewhere else. I got out the hood and I went somewhere else and I did my thing, but it wasn't written correctly. So therefore, it wasn't received by the it's not going to be received by the board correctly because it's just all general statements. Led by example, motivated others to take pride. Okay, cool. But they missed the mark on that. They missed it when installation commander, man, you could spruce that up. What I want you guys to do in the comments is when you look at this example, tell me how you could have made this example better. Any bullet. You don't have to take all 3 bullets if you don't want to. At least take 1 bullet and spruce it up and see what it is. All right, so evaluation, senior rater comments. So this is what the senior rater is responsible for. So strong comments contain enumeration, which is number, is what number of what number, top percent of. And when you say top percent of, give me a second. I'll talk about it in a second. There's a difference. I'll say it now. There's a difference between top 20% of NCOs I rate with top 20% of NCOs I've ever worked with, right? There's a huge difference. when that major or captain or whatever it is, or that colonel is saying that, you're talking about 10 years and plus experience, 17 years, 20 years. When they say top 20% of NCOs I've ever worked with, that holds weight, because that means they've worked around hundreds of NCOs, hundreds, and you're top 20%. So you got to think about that. So the next thing is senior rater professional opinion, right? That's what they're gonna that's what they're gonna talk about in there. They're gonna talk about the potential, right? They're gonna talk about using a narrative to capture the rater's enthusiasm or lack thereof. So depending on for the NCO, so depending on what it is, this is gonna reinforce what block they check on the left, most qualified, highly qualified, whatever. And then recommend education, promotion, and assignment. So 3 to 5 years out, which is why they always talk about the senior rater is the most important, because they're going to talk about positions that you, if you should be or not should be, like assigned to highest challenging position or do not assign. There's a big difference there, and that's their opinion, and they're talking about their potential, which is would work well in high operational environments. Works well under pressure, whatever it is that they want to say. And then they're going to talk about the next school, which is the education, to send you now, send to MLC now. Does that make sense? Promote ahead of peers. Like, all this stuff says something. And then the overall evaluation should create a word or picture for the reader. The board members often refer to NCOERs as the most important element of the board file. You can have all the awards you want to. You can have all the accolades, anything it is. But at the end of the day, what's important is what's on that NCOER, because that's a snapshot of what you've done in a specific amount of time. And it also shows your interoperability with people, because the more creative the NCOER sounds, it shows the effort that rater and senior rater put into it. So therefore, it shows that they are reciprocating what you've done for the organization. And then assessments of overall potential, and these are the bullets checked on the left, which is the most qualified, highly qualified, qualified, and not qualified. We'll start off with not qualified is not recommending for promotion at all. Qualified is capable of success at the next level, and that'll look like, it'll say promote if available, promote whenever you can, promote when spot opens. You don't want that in your COER. Highly qualified, strong potential for selection, so that's promote with peers, right? You're good, so you should be with your peer class. Most qualified is strong potential for selection, and that's the ahead of peers. That's when you know you're getting promoted. When you get a couple of those for the next board, you know you're going to get a low number and you're getting promoted to the next rank. You will be that master sergeant. You will be that sergeant first class. So every bullet says something. And the thing about these is the most qualified bullet, there's a certain percentage that each individual has to play with. You got 50% versus 24%. And if you don't know which percent is pertinent to who, go ahead and look at the DA PAM and the AR 623-3. Come back to the comments and let me know. This is an example of a well-written or a senior rater comment. Jesus, couldn't get that out. Number 1 of 7, Staff Sergeant I senior rate. A leader who outperforms his peers and operates a grade above his current. Promote to sergeant first class right now. Has propensity to excel in any generating, operating, or joint organization. Cheese and rice. This dude is out of control. Sent to Signal Digital Master Gunnery's course. Didn't know they had one. To further his intellectual and drive. Challenge this agile leader with an assignment with the White House Communications Agency as a team lead. I've never seen a bullet written this way, but why not? That's like next level shit right there. I'm not gonna lie. Like every time I read this bullet, it always like it amps me up. Like this can be written there, and that's a highly qualified. The next example is going to be Sergeant First Class. Insert name is an exceptional, technically skilled leader, has drive and motivation to complete a task. The task asked of him displays relentless devotion to assist others while completing mission requirements. Sent to master leaders course when seats are available. That's crazy. When seats are available, it's crazy. And promote to master sergeant as needed. Do you see the difference in the previous example and this one? How it even sounds, and that's just a qualified. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you just qualify, you just qualified. The thing about NCOERs is you got to understand, like, you're gonna get rated when you rate someone. You don't want to lie. You don't want to lie to them, and you definitely don't want to lie to the board, right? Because if they're not the best, don't paint them out being the best. And there's nothing wrong with that because it'll make them work harder and get to where they need to be because they're competing against their peers. And if they don't put the work in, then it's going to be hard for them to get promoted. And there's nothing wrong with being a squad leader twice. There's nothing wrong with being a platoon sergeant twice. First sergeants do first sergeant time up to 4 years. I've seen a first sergeant do, like, did a year and a half here, did another year and a half here, did another year there as a first sergeant, and then got promoted to sergeant major. So it happens. But sometimes it takes a couple of times of you being in that position to master it. And that's all to it. So that's a qualified. The NCO lens. So when you're reviewing this stuff, the Army writing will be clear, concise, and effective. Must aid effective communication and decision making, right? You want to let the board know, hey, this is what's going on. Make a decision. Provide reader with understanding of writing and a single rapid reading. Free of errors in substance, organizational style, and correctiveness. Avoid jargon, which is military or technical. And then place the main point up front, used as the active voice. The subject, verb, then the object. Emphasizes the actor, which is the subject you're going to talk about. Results in shorter sentences, and that's true. Passive voice. Last example is the test was passed by Sergeant Jones. Active voice, Sergeant Jones passed the test. And if you look at it right there, it's a shorter sentence. Passive voice has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 words in it, while the active voice only has 5. Single rapid reading, short, concise. That's the whole point of it. All right. So again, here are the references for all of you individuals. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Give me a second. Yeah, I appreciate you guys stopping by. It's I hope you guys got something out of this because I think we need to understand NCOERs in order to do a better job at not just writing them, but understanding them and what they're for. It tells HRC where to put each leader, right? Because they're talking about potential, right? So just understand that it's there to shape and better the NCO so that NCO can be better for the Army. So if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you're listening on the podcast, go ahead and leave a review and drop a download. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please send them to rogersarn@gmail.com. If you on social media, you can either click on my LinkedIn, which is @rogersarn, and all my socials will be there. Or you can go to each individual. You can go to IG, Facebook, TikTok, or Discord. And those are all @rogersarn. And as always, you don't have to embrace the suck if you got the right tools in your ruck. I'm Sergeant Cruz, and I'm out. Peace.
Roger, Sergeant.